The next topic is if-else statement. If-else statement is used to perform some action based on more than one condition. You can use if-else statement to specify a new condition to be tested. If the first condition evaluates to be false, it will move to the next else if until such time it will return into true. Now I will give you an example, but first we need to understand the syntax for this if-else statement. First is that we start from the if condition and then followed by a curly bracket. So you can either put the curly bracket at the bottom or at the side or right next to this condition. And then you have to execute here a code that needs to be executed if the first condition is true. Otherwise, if this one returns to false, what will be executed here is that another condition. So this is the best part of if-else condition, and then followed by a condition, and then the code to be executed. Likewise, and the last part of it will be on the else condition, wherein if this is the last part is the else condition, this code to be executed here if both of the condition is false. So if all the conditions on top are already false, the last part will be executed. Now in this rate, we have to follow the syntax, which is of course the code to be executed if the condition returns to false. So this is the syntax for the if-else statement. First is that this will be executed once this condition here is met, and this code will be executed. Now the syntax for this if-else statement is that if the first condition is met, or if this statement is true, or the condition will return to true, this code here will be executed. Otherwise, if this returns to false, the next else if condition will be running, and of course it will execute a specific code. However, if these two else if conditions here are all false, it will run right away with the else if condition, or the last part, or the else condition here. Take note, you can create multiple else if. Now I will give you an example on how to make use of if-else statement. At first, I'm going to make this one is a comment, and then I'll start from HTML, followed by title if-else else statement dash statement. Then what we're going to do is start from PHP, followed by a declare variable. Let's say I'm going to declare a variable number 1 will be equivalent to 10, followed by number 2, say 20, followed by number 3, which will be 30, followed by number 4, which will be equivalent to 40. Now this is the easiest way for us to understand how this if-else statement works. So at first we need to evaluate this number. So let's say we have here the if. Let's just say we're going to evaluate number 1, which will be greater than to number 2. And then if this returns to true, what we're going to do is that we're going to print out, which will print out echo, that 10 will be, or let's say is greater then 20. And then if this code here returns to false, it should execute the next else if. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to set else if, and then followed by a condition again. Let's just say number 1 will be evaluated to the other number, which is already number 3. Oops. Which will be evaluated to number 3. And then we're going to print out something here. So please take note, every time you're going to create a block of code here, it should be separated or created a curly bracket. At this rate, I'm going to set an echo again. And then this time, what I'm going to do is, of course, I'm going to evaluate the situation wherein 10 is, of course, greater than the value of 3. 30 greater than 30. And then we can, like I said, we can create multiple else if statements. So this is the best part of using an else if statement. You can construct multiple conditions according to your liking. For this situation, what I'm going to do here is, first I'm going to evaluate again that number 1, which is number 1, will be greater than to number 4. And then at this rate, I'm going to set curly bracket, set an echo for this one, and then, like I said, I'm going to set 10 is greater than 40. And then otherwise, if these are all wrong, then we can set an echo that says no correct answer. Next, we need to save this file. Go to your file, save as. Make sure that you have to save it on the proper drive or the proper location. Let's just say I'm going to have a file in if else statement, if else if statement .php, and then move to your browser and then access the file, which is localhost followed by the if else if statement.php. So if we're going to assess the situation, if you're going to assess this code, what will happen here is that it will try to evaluate the first line condition or the first condition. So like I said, in using an if else if statement is that if the condition is met and if it turns into true, then it will execute a specific code. Otherwise, it will move to another area until such time each of this code is executed or it will return into true. However, if these conditions are not met and all of them returns to false, the last statement will be executed. Now this is the reason why we have an output of no correct answer. It is because if we're going to assess this code and the criteria is we have here the 10, 20, 30, and 40, which evaluates that 10 is not greater than 20, 30, or 40. That's why we have an output of no correct answer. So this is how you're going to use or make use of if else statement.